Even if you don't get in bed by that time, still try to do your routine. Hi everyone, I'm Maddie and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about sleep. So for youth athletes and dancers, sleep is extremely important, and you've probably heard that before already. But you may be wondering, what's the difference between getting enough sleep and not getting enough sleep? How does that actually impact my performance? What is enough sleep? And how do I make my sleep quality better? So these are all really great questions that we're going to dive into during today's video. So let's start with, how does getting enough sleep actually impact me as a student athlete or dancer, or really for anyone, to be honest? Something that shows this really well is a recent study done by the Mayo Clinic in 2023, where they studied collegiate athletes. The collegiate athletes that did not get enough sleep, performance, accuracy time, and recovery periods all got worse by 50%. And those that actually got enough really good sleep, that slept the right length, got good quality sleep, those athletes and dancers, they actually improved their performance, accuracy, reaction times, and got even better in those areas by 10%. So you can see that those who lost sleep and didn't get good quality sleep, it really dropped and it really impacted things. Some other things that lack of sleep can cause is increased heart rate with exercise, cortisol spiking higher, that's your stress hormones, increased risk and greater chance of concussion, greater risk of injury. So there's just so many things that can happen to your body when it's not getting the rest that it needs. Also, not getting enough sleep can make your recovery periods longer. So say you do get hurt, the time out could be a lot longer if you're not getting enough sleep, or even just in general, bouncing back from really hard long rehearsals or long practices. Bouncing back from training, it can be a lot harder if you're not getting enough sleep. So in general, making sure you're getting good sleep is really important. So you may be wondering now, well, how do I get better sleep? How do I get good sleep, right? So there's actually a lot of things that go into play with this, and we can go through some of them right now. So the first one I like to talk about is kind of managing your circadian rhythm. So your circadian rhythm is basically the rhythm of your sleep cycle, your wake and sleep cycle for your body, for you. So a lot of things can impact this, but one of the main things that impacts this actually is light and the type of light that you're getting and when. So one of the first things I do to help people get better sleep is I actually have them go outside first thing in the morning. So right away when you wake up, if you can, get your drink of water, use the restroom, whatever, and then if you can walk outside, even if it's just on your balcony or your porch, or if it actually is all the way outside in a yard if you have one. If the weather is good, a lot of times I'll actually go outside my apartment and I'll just walk across the parking lot and stand in a grassy area for a minute and take a few breaths. What this is doing is it is getting some light from the sun in your eyes immediately, getting those rays in your pupils, right? Getting them in your eyes to kind of signal your body that, hey, it's time to wake up, it's daytime, and let's get this day started. The light waves actually affect your brain in different ways, and so those bright morning sunlight rays will really help you, and that can actually in turn make your sleep better at night, just the way that the light is designed to affect you. So that's a really great thing to do in the morning. So let's fast forward now to before bed or nighttime. So what I see a lot with athletes and dancers is they're training at night, right? We have school or we have college or whatever you're doing, whatever stage you're at, you have that during the day. And then typically after that is when people will go to practice or rehearsal. And typically at practice or rehearsal, there are really bright lights shining down. So whether you're on a field and you have the big overhead lights, or whether you're in a dance studio and you have, a lot of times it's the fluorescent lighting above you shining down in the studio. Wherever you're training, those lights are usually really bright. If you're in a gym playing basketball or whatever, those lights are going to be bright, right? And that's good, because we need to stay alert. We need to see, we need to stay awake. We need those lights helping us stay really alert in our body. so that we can do our best in our sport. But what happens is after we leave our practice or we leave our rehearsal, we now need to be able to transition into sleep mode, right? Relaxation mode, to be able to get that good quality sleep. So let's talk about some things we can do to transition out of that bright environment into a more cozy, nurturing sleep environment. So a couple things you can do is you can actually replace your light bulbs with bulbs that you can control and change the color of. So what I do in my room is I actually have light bulbs that I have a remote for in my lamps, and then when it gets to the evening time, I just change them to a more relaxing color. And really the best color for relaxation scientifically is red light. So you may find a blue light relaxing to you, but to really help enhance sleep, we want red light in the evening. This kind of mimics our ancestral experience of firelight or candlelight. And you can totally light candles and get that relaxation and that light going. But also we do have to be able to see, right? So changing those light bulbs and just turning them to like a red or an orange in the evening is really, really beneficial for your sleep. Another thing you can do is you can change the color of the screen light on your devices. So I know like the iPhone, you can go in your settings and you can change the color profile. I have mine set where I can click the side of my phone 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then it changes the whole shade of the screen to red. And then I can just triple click again to make it go back to normal. So I'll do that in the evenings. And then you can also get this app called f.lux, that's f.lux. And you can download it for free. It's a totally safe app. You can put it on your tablets or your computers. And on those devices, it basically just matches the lighting of the time zone that you're in. So you'll put in your time zone, you'll put in the time you like to wake up, the time you want to go to bed, and then as the day goes, the computer screen will actually transition with the sunset to where at night now the screen is red. And you can kind of select like how much of that you want to happen in the app. But it's really, really convenient, it's really helpful, and it's free. So I would totally recommend doing those things for lighting. All right, so what's another thing you can do to help yourself get good sleep? Another thing that I recommend is actually having a bedtime snack. Now, this can be more beneficial for some people than others. It's not for everybody, but what we see a lot with athletes, right, is you're burning so many calories, you're doing so much that maybe you get a few meals throughout the day, and then you go to practice and you're just working so hard, and then maybe you have dinner. And then by the time it rolls around to sleep, maybe you're actually a little bit hungry. Or maybe you're waking up in the middle of the night and you're like, hey, I'm a little hungry. Or maybe you're just noticing that overall throughout the day, right, you're still feeling a little hungry. So I recommend before going to sleep, you try to find a, small balanced snack that you can have before sleep to help kind of promote deep sleep throughout the night. Okay, what this does is it just kind of pushes you through the night without that urgency of waking up because your blood sugar drops. So a lot of times the reason people wake up in the night is because they didn't have enough food in their system to keep their blood sugar sustained and balanced throughout the whole night's sleep, especially if they're really active and they're burning through things quickly. So we want to have a snack that's going to help keep that balanced. So that does not mean you just have candy or chips or a bunch of carbs that are going to spike your blood sugar right before you go to sleep. You want to have some carbs in there, but you also want to have some fat, especially some fat, and some protein. So carbs, fat, and protein, all 3 of the macro groups, to help you really sleep well. So I recommend some cheese is great, maybe with some dried fruit. I like to do dates and cheese before bed. You can do a little bone broth. You can do a little whole milk with a little carb by it, something that you like. So just kind of play around and see what works for you. Different people like different things, and just have that, then brush your teeth, and then go to sleep. Another thing that you can kind of tie all of this stuff into is creating a bedtime routine. So just like how Pavlov trained his dogs to salivate when they heard the bell, if you don't know about that experiment, look it up.
we can train ourselves to get sleepy and go to bed and have a better sleep. So try to do the same things every single night before bed to prep your mind and body that, hey, we're going to sleep now. So try making the same sleepy tea. Try having that same snack. Try dimming your lights and changing your screens at night. Try making sure that you have a really good routine to tell your body that it's time to go to sleep. And soon, when you start to do those things, your body will actually just start to get sleepy when you do those things. If you're consistent, that will not happen if you're not consistent with it. So for example, when I was training myself to get better sleep, even if I wasn't super hungry and I didn't really want the snack, I would kind of make myself just have like one bite of each thing. So for me, it was dates and cheese. So I'd have like one little bite of cheese, one little bite of dates, so that my body would taste it, smell it, experience it, and then I would brush my teeth and go to bed, and that would associate the snack with sleep. The same thing with the sleepy tea. I would make the same sleepy tea. And if I didn't really, feel like I wanted it, or it was like really late, I would just make a tiny little bit of it so I could smell it, could take a couple sips, and then go to bed, to train my body consistently over time to have that same routine to associate those things with sleep. Nowadays, I almost always do a bath. I always change my screens and my lighting. So doing all those things, it's like, oh, it's time for bed. And then honestly, I started sleeping so good. And then if I was kind of wired from bright lights or practice or working or whatever, doing those things would help my body wind down for sleep so much more quickly. Okay, and then the last thing is setting a bedtime for yourself. So I know this sounds very cliche. It's like, oh, a bedtime. Everyone talks about that for little kids, but it's actually really, really important for you and your body to kind of have consistency. And that goes all the way back to that circadian rhythm we talked about at the beginning. So your body kind of knows what to expect. It knows when it's getting the wake up, it knows when it's getting the sleep, so that it can kind of plan and get into a rhythm and know what's going on, right? And that will keep your cortisol and your stress hormones lower, which is great if you're an athlete, because if you're an athlete and you're exercising a lot, those stress hormones are gonna come up a little bit anyway. So pick a bedtime. I would recommend something before 11 p.m. and try to be consistent with it. I do a little range. I do between like 10:15 and 11, give myself 45-minute range depending on what's going on that night. And even if you don't get in bed by that time, or maybe it's late that night, you had something going on, still try to do your routine or do a mini version of the routine and hit all the little things just to train your body to get that really good sleep and to know that it's time and it's safe to relax and you can just get that deep sleep you need. If you're wondering about how much time you actually need sleeping, it does vary from person to person, but typically for adolescents, they need a minimum of 8 hours. Studies show 8.2 hours and up is better, and a lot of adolescents need up to 10 hours of sleep. And keep in mind that if you're a woman, if you're a female, females tend to need more time sleeping than males do in general, just because of our hormone profile and just we're different. So if you're a girl, give yourself some grace, give yourself some extra sleep. I actually function best on more like 9 hours of sleep. So I try to allow myself to have that time. And if there's a night that doesn't happen, that's okay. But I do try to really prioritize that and protect my sleep time. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys and informative. If you have any questions or you want to learn more, just comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope your day goes great. Thanks for watching.